What good are you anyway? What's this all of a sudden? What's your worth in life? My husband, who suddenly started saying nonsensical things. He wasn't like this before, but he changed into a verbally abusive man as soon as we got married. What are you going to do after asking that? It's obvious, isn't it? I want a divorce. But he didn't know something crucial. Before we got married, I had lied to him about something. I told him I was a CEO and my company made over $600 million a year. What about our kids? You're gonna abandon them? It's not abandoning. You should take responsibility and raise them. And you're still their father? From now on, I'll be the father of my new family. I don't have time for you and them. I'm having a new baby soon. I couldn't believe he had even gotten someone pregnant. At this point, I had no reason to hold back. I decided to pay him back double for everything he had done. And since we got married, you haven't earned a single cent. Living comfortably on my money. I don't recall ever asking you for that. You've been nothing but trouble for me all this time. So, pay me $60,000 in alimony. What a jerk. I decided it was time to tell him the truth. Why should I pay? It should be the other way around. That's why this is a fair demand. Understand that. I thought he was an idiot. That amount was nothing for me now. I'll pay you. $60,000 is a small price. What? That's when I revealed my true identity to my husband. The look on his face at that moment is still laughable to me. And my revenge isn't over yet. The real hell for him is just beginning. I'm Jessica Miller, CEO of a certain company. I lived with my 2 kids and my husband, Dave. I got to where I am now thanks to my family. Big sis, can you help me out with the company? Me? I can't do anything. That's not true. I need your help because you're my sister. I have a younger brother. 3 years into my career, he asked me to help him. At the time, he was a college student and had started a company dealing in imported goods. If I were to help, what would I need to do? I need your advice. You've always loved fancy goods. True, I had loved cute foreign items since high school. But I had doubts about quitting my stable job to help him. Nevertheless, my brother didn't give up, and almost a year had passed since his proposal. All right, I'll help. Really? I'm not sure how much I can help, but I gave in to my brother and quit my job to help him. Several years later, while working at my brother's company, I met Dave. I was invited to a social gathering by a friend. I was just looking to kill time, but I was drawn to Dave's cool demeanor. How about dinner together sometime? Sure, if you're okay with me. Before I knew it, I had asked him out. We started going out for meals and eventually began dating. Being with him was comfortable, and I started thinking about marriage. 3 years into our relationship, he proposed. I want you to marry me. If I'm good enough for you, then yes, please. And so, we went to greet each other's families. We smoothly finished meeting Dave's family, and later went to my family's home. On the way there, Dave said something unexpected. I want you to be a stay-at-home wife after we're married. A stay-at-home wife? Yeah, you said you worked at a company dealing with fancy goods, right? Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, but I want you to quit your job. I want you to dedicate yourself to me and our home after we're married. As I hesitated to respond, Dave showed a bit of irritation. Feeling the urgency to answer, he asked, Is that a no? It's not that I can't. Then, I'm counting on you. It's a promise. I was conflicted. This was a turning point that would affect my future. We were about 10 minutes away from my house when I secretly contacted my brother. Dave was focused on driving and didn't notice. My brother was living at our family's house, so I wanted to talk to him first. So, this is Jessica's family home. Yes. My brother is here too today. Got it. I was nervous, but the marriage greeting went smoothly. We were treated to a meal. "I'll go help in the kitchen for a bit, Dave, you relax here." "Thanks." I immediately went to my brother. "What do you think I should do?" "I do want to work. The stay-at-home wife thing, right? You're needed here. Plus, it's thanks to you that the company has grown so much in such a short time." Hearing this made me want to continue working even more. Then, my brother suddenly clapped his hands as if he had an idea. "Wait! We can just keep it a secret." "What? That's going to be found out." "It'll be fine. From now on, I'll give you tasks that you can do from home." "Well, if that's the case. Actually, there's another favor I want to ask." "Another favor?" My brother seemed a bit hesitant to speak. I braced myself, imagining it might be something troublesome. "Can you become the CEO in my place?" "Me, the CEO? Why?" "This was a decision made by all the executives. But you're the CEO, Tyler. That's why, if you become the CEO, I'll be the vice president. Please." Saying this, my brother pleaded with me. But all I did was decide whether to purchase the proposed products. "That's what's amazing. Most of the products you picked sold out instantly." "Maybe, but..." "And you'll be the CEO of a company with annual sales of $600 million. I decided to accept the proposal. I chose to become the CEO not for the money, but because I couldn't disregard the wishes of the employees who had chosen me. Thus, I married Dave while holding this big secret. And it was something that absolutely couldn't be revealed. A week after the greetings, we submitted our marriage registration and became husband and wife. "Now that we're officially married, you'll follow my instructions." "Instructions?" "Yes. I'm the head of this house. It's only natural." This was on the first day we moved into our new home. Dave started to adopt a more authoritarian attitude towards me. Even before the marriage, he had shown some signs of being condescending, and now my fears were coming true. I started to wonder what would become of this relationship. "Hey, how about we go on a trip?" "A trip? We haven't had our honeymoon yet, so I thought it would be a good idea." This was 6 months after we got married. Until then, I had been desperately trying to fulfill my role as a housewife, just as Dave wanted. Of course, I was thrilled by such a suggestion. "So, where shall we go?" "How about Alaska? You mentioned wanting to go there before, right?" "Yes. I've always wanted to go." I was happy that he remembered. We planned to go on the trip 2 weeks later, but I noticed that Dave seemed distracted. "Is something wrong?" "No, nothing. We should get going, we have a plane to catch." "Okay." We enjoyed our time in Alaska. But something happened that night. When I woke up in the middle of the night, Dave was not beside me. He returned to the room after a while. "Where were you?" "It doesn't matter where I was." "Of course, I'd be worried when you're not here." Then Dave clicked his tongue softly. "Listen. From now on, don't question what I do. Who do you think provides for you?" I almost revealed the truth right there, but I held back. Indeed, Dave had been contributing a small amount of money each month for living expenses, but it was just a few $1,000s. I had been supplementing it with my own money without him knowing. Then I noticed something. "Why do I smell something sweet?" "Scent? There's no such thing. What are you talking about?" Dave was evasive, but I was sure of the smell. At that moment, I began to suspect that there might be another woman in his life. Maybe this trip was just a cover for him to meet someone else. The trip was for 3 nights and 4 days, but every night he went out. I tried to follow him, but couldn't catch him as he seemed to be wary of me. I wondered, what was the purpose of this trip? In the end, I couldn't enjoy the trip and returned to my daily life. Whether it was good timing or bad, I discovered I was pregnant around this time. I immediately reported it to Dave, but... "It seems I'm pregnant." "Pregnant? I see." Dave's reaction was incredibly lackluster. He neither seemed happy nor did he express much concern. Instead, he appeared almost bothered by the news. I had thought having a child might soften his attitude, but that wasn't the case. Even as my belly grew, he never helped with house chores.
Could you help out a bit? I'm not feeling well today.
Why do I have to do that? I can hardly move in this condition. I'm troubled too, you know.
You got pregnant on your own.
I couldn't tolerate this attitude anymore. That's no way to speak to someone. That's completely irresponsible. But my words didn't seem to reach Dave. Raising a child costs money. You should know that as my wife. I didn't want to understand such a thing. As time went on, I reached my due date and ended up giving birth alone.
That's too much, isn't it? No, it's beyond too much.
When I showed my newborn child to my family at home, my parents and brother were furious.
You should just leave him. I agree with Mom. You'll only suffer if you stay with him.
I know, but it's not that easy with a newborn.
If anything happens, talk to us right away.
Thanks, I will. As I was about to leave, my brother stopped me.
Sorry, sis, I forgot to mention earlier, but we started doing business with your husband's company.
Really?
Yeah, I realized it a bit late. Well, that can't be helped. But this information might be useful later. Sis, you shouldn't show that expression to anyone else.
Why not?
Just a word of advice.
Returning home, Dave still didn't participate in childcare. That hadn't changed since the baby was born. I had stopped expecting anything from him.
The baby's crying is too much.
Sleep farther away.
A baby's job is to cry. It can't be helped.
Then it's your job to make the baby stop. My son and I ended up sleeping in the living room, the furthest from the bedroom. Dave also complained about trivial things. What's this meal? Don't be careless.
I didn't have much time today.
You're always home and you don't have time? Don't joke with me. Saying this, he swept the dishes off the table. The plates fell to the floor, startling my son into crying. Dave shouted at him for being noisy. It was a nightmarish scene. Forget cleaning up. Just make him stop crying. Without a word, I took my son and went outside. I couldn't stand being in the house for even a second longer. About half an hour later, I returned home to find Dave gone. Sigh. Why does it have to be like this? I was wearing down both physically and mentally, and eventually, I ended up in the hospital. That day, after seeing Dave off, I was in a remote meeting at home when I suddenly felt ill and lost consciousness. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed. When I came to, I was lying in a hospital bed.
My son! He's fine. He's sleeping over there.
I sighed in relief. Did Tyler help me?
Of course, he did. You suddenly collapsed on the screen. I rushed to your house.
Thank you. Then Tyler's expression turned serious.
Isn't this reaching a limit?
I guess so.
This time was just lucky timing, but if no one had noticed, it could have been irreparable.
Tyler was right. Considering my son, I needed to make a decision soon. I took a deep breath.
You're right, Tyler. I've been avoiding it for various reasons, but for my child's sake, I need to have this talk.
Absolutely. If anything happens, Mom and I are here for you. So, I decided to bring up divorce with my husband after getting discharged. The diagnosis was exhaustion, so after a 3-day stay, I was discharged. When my son and I got home, Dave was waiting with a furious expression. Can't you even manage your own health?
I need to talk to you.
Talk? Later. I'm going out now.
Wait a minute.
Without saying where he was going, Dave left and didn't return that day. He hardly came home anymore, making it difficult to find a moment to bring up divorce. When he did come home, there was no conversation between us, he just grabbed his things and left again. It became the new normal. One day, after he left for work and didn't return, I decided to tell him about the divorce and waited up all night. Then I got a call from his number.
Hello? When are you coming home?
Instead of Dave, a young woman's voice answered. Are you his wife?
And who are you?
I'm Mindy.
I'm in a relationship with Dave.
I immediately understood she was his mistress. This was clear evidence, perfect for the divorce. I see. You don't seem surprised. I had my suspicions. I answered calmly, suppressing my emotions. Then this is easy. I really love Dave, so please divorce him quickly.
Do you understand what you're saying?
Of course. He said he doesn't need someone useless like you. I see. I was about to hang up the phone, but it seemed like Mindy still had more to say. So, I decided to entertain her a bit longer. Guess where he is now?
I don't care, but go ahead.
Listen. He's in my room, sleeping like a baby. I see.
That's irrelevant to me now. That's why Dave is leaving you.
Mindy's laughter, despite her affair, was infuriating. Not just Dave, but this blatantly foolish woman was too much. Birds of a feather flock together, I guess.
Anyway, he'll be staying at my place tonight. You sleep alone, okay?
With that, the call ended. If that's her intention, then I'm ready for it too. Just as Mindy said, Dave didn't come home. The next afternoon, he finally returned.
Seems like you had quite the fun yesterday.
What are you talking about? Don't you know?
A woman named Mindy called from your phone.
None of your business. His face soured, but then he seemed to resign himself.
You're in love with her?
Yeah, you could say that. Not denying it, huh?
What's the use?
Then Dave sat on the sofa, looking up at the ceiling. Tell me, what good are you?
What's this all of a sudden?
What's your worth in life? Suddenly, my husband started saying nonsensical things again. I thought to myself, here we go again. He might be trying to satisfy his ego by belittling and berating me. If that's the case, there's no hope for him.
What will you do after asking that?
Just checking.
To see if you're aware of it. And if I'm not?
Laughing, Dave replied.
Then it's divorce.
Divorce, huh?
Your mistress did tell me to break up with you. Then that's good. You're no longer needed. In fact, you were never useful to begin with. Even if we divorce, you might regret it.
Me, regret? No way. Dave didn't know something important. Before we got married, I lied to him about something. I told him I was a CEO and my company's annual revenue exceeded $600 million. But something else was on my mind, our child.
So, what about our child? You're not going to abandon him, are you? That sounds bad. You should take responsibility and raise him. Even as his father?
Come on.
You just said you're okay with divorce. Besides, I'll be the father of my new family. I don't have time for you and them. There's another child on the way.
I couldn't believe he had gotten Mindy pregnant. Mindy herself hadn't mentioned it, so I never imagined such a thing. At this point, there was no need to hold back with my husband. I'm going to give back to him double what he did to me.
And since we got married, you haven't earned a cent.
Living comfortably on my money.
I didn't ask you for any of that. You've been a nuisance to me this whole time.
So, pay me $60,000 in alimony. What a despicable man. I decided it was time to tell my husband the truth.
Why should I pay? It should be the other way around. That's why it's a legitimate demand. Understand that. It's impossible for me to understand. That's for all the losses you caused me. Well, it's not even close, but I feel sorry for making you, who have no money, pay more.
I couldn't believe his ignorance. With my current financial situation, I can easily afford that amount. I can easily pay that.
$60,000 is nothing.
What? I was about to reveal my true identity to my husband. He didn't understand what was coming. Thinking about what was about to happen, I couldn't help but feel excited. What are you staring at?
What are you thinking?
Who knows? What are you talking about?
Don't play dumb. You can't possibly pay $60,000.
Why would you think that?
Because you're a stay-at-home wife who quit her job.
He was clearly not following.
Actually, I never quit my job. Not quit? But you were always at home.
I can work from home. If you don't believe me, I'll show you proof. I took a business card from my wallet and handed it to him.
A business card?
It prominently displayed my name as the CEO.
You, a CEO?
You've been belittling me for so long, it must be hard to believe. But this is the truth.
I don't believe you. You're trying to trick me.
Too bad if you think so. Besides, the annual revenue of my company is $600 million.
$600 million?
Yes. More than you could ever hope to earn. Dave was visibly in despair. But my revenge wasn't over yet. Sorry to see you so hopeless, but there's more.
More?
Your company. They recently started dealing in goods, right?
No way!
I had been surprised when Tyler told me, but I knew I could use it. I left the business dealings to Tyler, but I was the top of the company. I think I'll cancel our dealings with your company. It seems impossible to associate with a company that has an employee like you.
Wait! If you do that, I'll be fired.
That's not my concern. We're getting divorced, after all.
I apologize for everything. I'll do whatever you say from now on.
How could he have no pride? He easily discarded it for his own safety after looking down on others. The thought that I once loved such a man, even for a moment, makes me feel pathetic. It's a shame, but that's impossible. You should start looking for a new job.
I'll break up with Mindy.
But what about the child she's carrying? Are you going to abandon that child too?
I never wanted a child. She kept insisting.
Remember, you said the same to me.
That's...
The more he spoke, the more he entangled himself. Anyway, my mind is made up. You can use this house as you like. Maybe you should invite Mindy here. I left the house with my son. I had no attachment to this house, and I could afford to replace our belongings. We decided to go to my parents' house.
What's going on all of a sudden?
I'll be staying here for a while.
You've made your decision, huh?
I had already decided, but it took a while with everything happening. Take your time to relax. After putting my son to bed, I contacted Tyler. About that business deal with Dave's company you mentioned. Does that mean you're getting a divorce? Well, that's just a matter of time, but I wanted to sort this out first.
I thought it might come to this, so I'm prepared. You're such a reliable brother.
I decided to have Tyler handle the contract cancellation. I was unstoppable now. I was going to make Dave and his mistress, Mindy, regret everything. Dave kept calling. So I decided to answer. What's up?
Where are you?
I don't intend to tell you.
Please, come back.
Why would I? Don't you understand? Also, I've officially decided not to continue the contract with your company.
Is that true?
Yes. And I've arranged for my brother to convey everything about you. Dave fell silent. Whatever you do, it won't change your fate. You better tell Mindy too. Bye. I laughed out loud after hanging up. The world seemed brighter. I savored the current situation, though the final step remained. 3 days after returning to my parents' house.
Tyler has taken care of everything you asked for. You can relax now.
Thanks. Now it's my turn to finish this.
Let me know if you need anything.
I will. I consulted a lawyer the same day. Anticipating Dave might make the divorce difficult. I explained everything, including the affair and the pregnancy. With all the evidence, the lawyer immediately began the proceedings. It looks like everything will be all right. The next day, the CEO of Dave's company came to apologize personally. Dave, as expected, was fired. What happened to him afterward was unclear. Upon inquiring further, it turned out that Dave, as I had anticipated, was fired from his job. What became of him afterward remains unknown. And then,
I thought you might be here. I never expected you to come here.
unexpectedly, Dave showed up at my parents' house.
I thought this was the place. Give me another chance.
Dave was still trying to cling to me, unwilling to let go.
That chance is long gone. You had plenty of opportunities. It's a lifetime request.
I no longer wanted anything to do with him. I just wanted to be free from this marriage.
It's impossible. Don't come here again. And remember, you have Mindy and your child. I'll sort that out.
Don't say things you can't do.
It'll only cause more trouble.
Then, with Tyler's help, I managed to get Dave out of the house. A week later, the divorce was officially finalized. Naturally, I demanded alimony from both my ex-husband and Mindy. Partly to make them suffer for their actions. According to what I heard, Dave ended up being abandoned by Mindy as well and was only asked to pay child support. All that was left for him was debt. It was a fitting outcome for a man who had been so despicable.
Now, at last, we can have peace. Then, as the CEO, continue to do your best.
I understand. I'll work hard to make up for the trouble I've caused. For me, there was no longer any need to hide my position as the CEO. And so, my family and I moved into a high-rise condo apartment. I'm looking forward to leading a happy life with my family.